Morning, y'all. I'm Catherine Ross with TheStreet. I am here on the floor of the NYSE with Jim Cramer. Jim, let's talk about the markets.
Yes.
What are your thoughts there?
Well, oil was down and the market was down, so then oil came back a little and the market went up. I hate to say it, but that's really the way things are going.
And BP is soaring right now.
Yeah, BP should be up more because it was really the best of the Chevron.
3% isn't enough for you?
Because Chevron wasn't as good, Exxon wasn't good, and obviously it's an actual name, it's the best. It's also the stock of the day, by the way, so it'd be a wall-to-wall coverage BP, which is terrific. What I see happening, companies that reported good numbers get lift on days like today. And then money's distributed away from the ones that don't, except Amazon and Alphabet. I told you they'd come back. I said they'd come back. Big action alerts names, they're coming back.
Yeah, when I last checked, right before we hopped on, Alphabet was only down like 0.4%.
Now, Alphabet's going to be down 10. Don't buy it. Because what's happened is all the sellers who were selling last night, they feel like idiots. So they come down and they bang it lower because that's what happens. I know that sounds silly, but I've handled these orders and these people say, oh, well, you know what? It's up from where I sold. I'll sell more. And they're going to bang it down. So don't get suckered. But if you look at Amazon and you say to yourself, it was down 100. And what I wrote on Real Money the other day was, we're going to forget why it was down 100. And we're going to come back and buy it. And that's what happens. It's not a forgiving market, it's a forgetful market.
Let's chat about your Real Money column this morning, because I thought it was quite insightful. It wasn't as difficult to understand as yesterday's, because it wasn't such a deep topic.
What is Alphabet supposed to do? I mean, they're getting criticized for spending. Apple's getting criticized for not spending. IBM's getting criticized for buying. Amazon's getting criticized for having margin pressure. And not doing enough to correct it, and not coming up with new products that intervene. You can't satisfy these people. All these companies are doing fabulously, including, by the way, Apple. And you can't please these critics. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. No matter what you do, you can't please these critics. Who are they? Who are these critics? They're second raters. That's who they're. They're second raters. Did they tell you to buy Apple 147 like we did? They didn't do that. I went out to Apple, 150. Did they tell you that Amazon was going to come back? No, they ran from the hills. Did they? How about Alphabet? Well, they're very benign, like, maybe it's okay. I don't know, and maybe it's good. I mean, I was watching Trey Wingo, who's a friend of mine from ESPN, and he was saying that people complain about the Super Bowl. It's like, I didn't watch it. I watched, it was really boring. I mean, no. He was right. That's the way the analysts are. It's like, I don't know. I was on the Alphabet call. Come on. Alphabet is growing 20%. Amazon's taking over the world. Apple's got this service revenue stream that's incredible. Facebook turned out to be far better than expected. It was the magazines and newspapers that ganged up against them. The advertisers were right there as always. So I just think that the endless negativity, they have to they need Xanax, maybe they need Indica.
Couch, as you called it before?
Couch, yeah. I think that they ought to use some of the cannabis that you can rub onto your brain, and maybe the cannabis, that this is illegal because it's hemp. They need to get into hemp. These analysts need hemp. There you go. Honestly, they need some hemp. I bet chocolate. Gummies. They should go to Oregon. All right, they should go. It's really cheap there, much cheaper than everywhere else because they plowed up all the Pinot Noir fields and they planted cannabis. And they should all take a field trip and get all the chocolate they can get because, boy, they negative. Not me. Because I praise companies that are doing well. It's just something I do. And I don't need no indica. I just do it because of natural endorphins that come from working out much more than they do and getting up earlier than they do. All right, that's what I do. Endorphins. But they can use substitutes. They can go get some THC for all I care.
Maybe they should pick up some yoga.
Yoga wouldn't be bad. Down dog. Good point.
Okay, so I want to talk to you real quick about the Chuck Schumer and Bernie Sanders op-ed in light of the Alphabet buybacks. Do you think that corporations should be...
when I studied Trotsky, and maybe they want to be part of the Spartacus Workers League because they want the workers to own the means of production. And that's what Trotsky wanted. I didn't think it worked. I've never been a Spartacus or a Spartacus Workers League. I've never felt had any grasp with me. It didn't have any gravitas. The buying back of stock, Alphabet's overpaying everybody, as far as I'm concerned, because they're trying to get them from Facebook. Facebook's overpaying everybody because they're trying to get them from Amazon. Amazon's overpaying everybody because they're trying to get them from Apple. So these companies are kind of they don't really come on the grid. Like if you get a job at these places, you're set for life. So let's just take them off. Same thing with the cloud king. So you get a job at these places. I mean, God love you. It's because you know how to code. We need to teach the people how to code. They did not address the core issue. As my daughter would say, they didn't address the culture. They addressed the symptom. And the symptom is how some people get paid more than others. The core culture is that we don't teach people how to code. If we talk like Trailhead, which is that's Mark Benioff's initiative, we get people how to code, then we conquer the economic inequality, not buybacks versus pay. They should be far more sensitive to the flaws in the American culture, not in the symptoms of buyback. And so it's a shame. They're not broad enough.
Are you saying that it should be buybacks versus education instead of buybacks versus pay?
Yes. I mean, I think that, and Benioff in his 111, Benioff in supporting, he asked me, it was very interesting. So he sees me and my wife for dinner. And he says, you'll know with a lot of other people. And he says, how many people are near a public school? And we have, did I tell you this?
No.
We have public school down the block. Right down the block. And he said, how many of you have gone to the public school and given them money? And, well, it's a public school. He said, but why don't you do it? So my wife went down with a check, and first security wouldn't let her in. And then she showed the check. So then they got her down to the principal's office. They wouldn't let her in to see the principal because it's like, who's this kook, right? She finally gets in to see the principal. They have nothing. They don't have news. They don't have paper. They don't have pencils. They don't have books. I mean, it's a travesty. Okay, and it's a travesty of the public school system. So she gives the check to the principal, and the principal just bursts out crying. She cannot believe the angel that has visited the school. And this is what we need. We need public schools to be better and to learn how to code. That's the symptom. The culture is the public school system failing people. So the fact that they are so narrow and I just wish my daughter would just go see them. I'm like shocked at their lack of understanding that it's the culture of our society. That's what's keeping people. And it doesn't matter. You need to code to go to Boeing. You need to code to be able to go to Pratt & Whitney. You need to code to go to work at Honeywell in their coding division. You need to code. And so why don't they address the fundamental problem, our public school system? That's what needs help. No, they address the symptoms, but not the actual. And it's, I'm not saying it's disgraceful. I'm saying it's short-sighted and it has nothing to do with the reality. It's not going to help anybody. It's just not. It's not what, these companies that have a lot of money, what you give them to the workers. No, teach. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Jim, we're going to head over to Action Alerts Plus because I want to talk to you about Disney. I want to talk to you about Anadarko.
To me, it's about the public schools. And
no, I love it. I think that you're very insightful on this topic.
You got to teach people how to code. You got to get them up. Look, trade schools, absolutely terrific. People how to trade. Teach them a trade or teach them to code. Okay? The previous administration, President Obama, didn't understand how good the trades are. Teach them to trade or teach them to code. But don't just hope that buybacks change things. Short-sighted.
I mean, you know me. I'm all for financial education. So
absolutely.
You're speaking my language. All right, guys. We're going to head over to Action Alerts Plus to focus on Disney, Viacom, all of these big stocks. We'll see you guys later.